Namaste everyone, this is Vaughn from Coach Minapam. I'm here again with another really awesome learn and grow session. We simply share our knowledge with people just like you who wants to learn and grow. We share our NLP tools and techniques with you, or other self-improvement tools, or management and productivity tools with you to help you effectively master and design your life. Design your life in a way that empowers your future. And if these sound awesome to you, simply hit that subscribe button. Just click that button down there right now. We'll then be able to regularly share similar amazing videos with you. Today we're going to talk about overcoming fear using some NLP techniques. I will gladly discuss some NLP concepts I learned as a NLP master practitioner. So I'll share some tips on overcoming fear using NLP tools. Also, a few of these concepts are something I learned from Damon Card. He suddenly has an amazing YouTube channel called Life Mastery Team that teaches you awesome NLP tools and techniques. So yes, this session is also inspired by him. Let's get started. Fear. Fear is absolutely captivating. There's so much we can learn from it. And we should keep in our mind that our fears have positive intentions towards us. It actually has a purpose in our lives. Imagine our lives without fear. How safe do you think we would be? Would most likely do stupid things without fear and eventually get ourselves killed somehow. However, fear is always trying to protect us from something and has positive intentions. We simply need to pay attention to whether that fear is working for us or we are enslaved to fear. If we are actually serving fear, it can be unresourceful or negative situation for us. However, if you allow fear to effectively serve you, it will keep you out of trouble. It will adamantly keep you out of harm's way. It can keep you alive. Fear can certainly be useful, right? So do not get rid of it. That's not the intention. And instead of getting rid of it, simply use these simple NLP tools to deal with your fear. Now, first thing to do is ask yourself what the trigger for your fear is. What actually makes you fearful? What is the context? Do you experience fear when you're with someone? Or is it something that someone does that triggers fear in you? What is it? Usually it is triggered by something or by a specific context. For example, maybe you simply experience fear when you're talking to your father. It is likely that your dad effectively makes you feel small, stupid, or not enough. So when you make a mistake, you're highly concerned about telling your dad because of what he might say or how he might make you feel or how you may feel about it. Right? So right now, think of how this fear is represented by you. How do you know it is certainly fear? That's another thing to ask. What tells you? I know some of you will say, I know because I feel it. How else? And indeed, you're correct. However, what is actually the trigger of that fear? What is triggering it? The idea is if you can generate that fear of interacting with your father when it's not actually happening in reality by simply thinking about it, you will know the representation of that fear. We can take the example of talking to your father situation. Maybe you can simply imagine talking to your dad. You can actually visualize the situation like a movie in your head. You can clearly see an image in front of you, and that is the representation. You run that movie as if it's actually happening right now. Now, figure out what effectively triggers your fear. Some people get triggered by sound or what someone might have said. So if it's auditory, you may hear a voice coming from a direction or a sound that's coming from a particular direction. What is triggering your fear? Also, what are you seeing? Maybe the trigger is actually a blend of what you see and what you hear. Which one is effectively stronger, hearing or seeing? One is usually stronger than the other. You're running a movie in your head, and let's say you're associated in the movie. You're in the movie, which means you clearly see your dad with your own eyes. And that effectively triggers fear for you. Once you realize this, note it down, record it somehow. Now, we'll focus on submodalities. We'll carefully examine our submodalities. What kind of tone does that voice have? How loud is the sound? Is it harsh? Is it high pitch? Also check the visual submodalities. You can ask questions like, where actually is the movie that you're visualizing? Is it right in front of you? Or is it slightly up and to the right? Or maybe it's slightly lower to the left. Now, let's assume that yours is right in front of you. Is your movie actually in color or simply black and white? And what is the brightness like? Or is it dull and dim? Also, the colors, are they rich? You need to keep all of these in mind, right? These are some examples of submodalities in NLP. When you finally realize or you are aware of the trigger for your fear, it's absolutely clear to you that when you're again in the same exact situation, it's the similar visual in front of you that will trigger your fear. It's the real image in front of you that is the trigger when it actually happens in the future. This is the clarity you want. Let's now shift our focus to our feelings, right? Feeling of fear. Where exactly in your body do you actually feel it? It could be your stomach, or is it simply your chest? Maybe your shoulder. For me, it's actually my gut, my stomach. That is simply another submodality, the location of your feeling. Sometimes these feelings can also have some weight to it. Is your feeling actually heavy or light? Maybe it has no weight whatsoever, right? At least for you. Let's say it feels heavy. Now, you know where it is. You know it's heavy. Those are the things that you know. Now, is your feeling hot, cold, or warm? Is there a temperature to your feeling? Maybe your feeling is hot, heavy, and right in the stomach. Now, there can be texture to your feelings, rough, soft, smooth. It could be texture like that of wood or cold and metal-like texture. So texture, what kind is it? Maybe there is simply none. Now, also you need to think about movement. Are there any movement to your feeling? Often, and to a lot of people, it actually feels like there is no movement, especially with negative feelings because they're really tense feelings. However, there actually is movement. It may be difficult to detect it, but there is movement. There may be simply small vibration in your feelings. Positive feelings often feel like they're flowing. They could be moving up, or they could be moving down, or even circulating. Let's assume for you, fear is heavy, hot, and it vibrates strongly in your stomach. Now we can play with this. So, fear or feeling of fear is this for you. How can we play with this? What happens if you can start changing all these submodalities to its opposite? Let's say the feeling was hot, heavy, and strongly vibrating. What would happen if you slowed down the vibration and cooled it down a little, or made it a little lighter, or made the feeling flow smoother instead of vibrating? Also, try and move the feeling from your stomach to your chest, maybe. What does that do? Your feeling should rapidly change from fear to something more pleasant. Your feeling now is in your chest and is flowing instead of vibrating. Feels a bit cooler, and maybe it's smoother, softer, and nicer. Now, this reality is different than what actually created fear for you. So this fear should be changing. It should start feeling a lot cooler. Even if it's only in your visualization at the moment, it probably starts to change your state and gives you a lot more space. You're not afraid anymore, at least not as much. Now that you've practically tweaked your submodalities, especially the kinesthetic ones, and you're certainly less fearful, you can bring back the visual of the context or the situation. Bring back that auditory memory, that sound or voice. Play with them too. Often, when you visualize again, you'll already see it differently. But when you visualize it now, do not be in the movie, dissociate from it. You watch the movie instead of being in it. Our negative feelings are more powerful because we're associated, we're in the movie. So now you're not as fearful anymore and you're dissociated. Now simply run this movie like you would want to. Regardless of how it happened in the past, run it like you'd love to, like you'd absolutely want it to go in the future. Also, feel free to keep editing this movie until you get what you exactly want. You should also integrate the new feelings into the movie, opposite of what you used to feel, contrary to what you used to feel, or opposite to fear. Once you actually have the movie you want and you have integrated the feelings of your liking into it, you will have to recheck again, rerun it, and see if there's any part of you that is not happy with it, or part of you that is still resisting. You should realize that this is your new way of behaving, and a part of you is resisting that behavior, or your new way of doing things, and a part of you is not happy with it. Is there any resistance to your new feeling with the way that you will be behaving or responding to this situation in the future, in absence of fear? So if you sense some kind of resistance, ask yourself what the positive intention behind that resistance is. Ask that a couple of times. Recheck. Ask again and again, a few times. And that should resolve the resistance issue. That should get rid of your resistance. There could still be some sense of fear left for some people, and no need to worry. Maybe it's not actually a bad thing. Sometimes you may not want to get rid of fear completely. The only thing you should be concerned with is if this fear is actually stopping you, or if it's unresourceful for you. Is your fear stopping you from doing your job well? Stopping you from doing your best? If not, then it worked. Now all you want to do is some future pacing. Visualize a future context where you're in the exact situation with you in the movie, associated, right, with your new submodalities. Rerun your new movie maybe a couple of times, a few times, right? Maybe you'll visualize interacting with your dad in the next few days, or visualize meeting your dad in the next few weeks, right? With the feeling that you like, or with the feeling that you recently created, and the whole thing going exactly the way you want. How you would like to be in that situation in the future. Now, do it a couple of times, right? The second time, maybe visualize it happening a few months later. Third time, maybe a year later. This is it. Try this a few times and let me know how this went. It will work, but just keep trying a few times, right? And then let me know if this actually worked, or if you need any help, if you have any questions. And this is the tool that I was talking about. Now, if you want to learn more and use these NLP tools and integrate them into your lives or your profession, we have plenty of programs that we offer regularly. Write to us at info@cosminepal.com to inquire more about dates and programs if you want to. So this is it, friends. We're at the end of the session. If you have suggestions, drop us a line or a few lines at info@cosminepal.com. If you have feedback, do not hesitate to share them with us. We'll be coming with more sessions, free sessions in the future, and some sessions that are not that free, because some of these sessions are awesome and they need a lot of work from us, right? Please like and subscribe, because we love you, we really do. And as you know, our goal is to reach and take these learnings to children and teachers in remote areas of Nepal who have no access to these kind of learnings, of course, at no cost. So we're targeting to reach 2 million children in a couple of years. So your support will go a long way, go a long, long way. We also have a lot of awesome programs coming in the next few months. If you want to know the details of these programs, do DM us, email us, or keep following us on Facebook, and like us on or subscribe us on YouTube. We'll announce them on all of these platforms too. Until then, stay safe, love yourself, the people around you, love them, and be kind to them, because kindness is the answer to everything. And stay positive. Not that way.